Okay, so we are talking with Out Lakota about their fresh meat. So if you all would introduce yourselves for the rest of our board who's not here.
I'm Scott Stevens. I'm the CEO, Executive Director. I'm a licensed independent social worker and have been with this organization just a little over 2 years now.
I am Sue. I'm a current board president at Out Lakota, but I also help run a couple of their supplemental programs, a school program and a Christmas program.
All right, well, tell us a little bit more about what you all do and your grant request.
All right. I do have a little PowerPoint. If you want to share screen, I would be happy to kind of.
Yeah, let me get you in there. Hold on. Are you good?
Let's see here. All right. I'm assuming you can see my screen okay?
Okay.
All right. So we are a food and clothing pantry, and we were started back in 1992 to serve the folks in the Lakota School District, which encompasses mostly Westchester and Liberty Township. And basically our goal is to help those families who are struggling. Sometimes it's just for the moment, but how can we best meet their needs, both, food and clothing wise, as well as some other special programs, and treat them with dignity and respect. So we serve about 100 families each month, and in our food pantry, we give at least a 2-week supply of food. A lot of food pantries will give a 3 to 5 day supply of food, and you can access the pantry monthly. We give a larger quantity of food, but you can only access the food pantry 4 times a year. So we want to be really kind of help them out in a crisis moment, but not be something they have to rely upon. So they can access it 4 times a year. They have to skip a month in between. We rely on volunteers and we get support from the community. So we aren't part of a government agency. It's part of the community who's serving this area. As I mentioned, we do give them a 14-day supply of food, which includes fresh food. So we have eggs, milk, meat, produce that we provide, as well as your standard canned food, boxed good, the non-perishable. We also have a clothing pantry where folks can shop for clothing, and it's clothing from kids up to adults. We switch out during the season. So right now we just switched over to summer season. So when they're in their shopping, they get the appropriate clothing for the season. We also have smaller household items. So that could be pots and pans, pillows, clocks, just different things. If families are struggling to provide food and clothing, sometimes they can't buy some of those smaller household items. And then we also, as part of our food program, give out what we call supplemental items. They're things you can't buy with food stamps because they're not food, but they're very critical. So we're talking about toilet paper, we're talking about soap, shampoo, dishwashing soap, Dawn detergent, razors, and so diapers and wipes as well. So they get not only food, but all the other things they need to keep their body healthy as well. We have several special programs, as Sue talked to earlier. So at Thanksgiving time, we do a turkey and a box full of food so they can have a large Thanksgiving meal. And I would say that the food that we provide them is way beyond just the Thanksgiving meal. So it's food that's going to last them for several weeks. For the holidays, they get meals, they get food, but they also do toys. So each child gets usually 2 toys at the holidays. And then for school, we have our back to school program where we will supply kids with their exact school supply list. Sue runs this program. So it's just not some pencils and paper, but if a parent has 3 kids in 3 different schools and they've got 3 different lists of supplies, when they come and pick out a brand new backpack, we put in their complete supply list. So it's packed, ready to go for the pickup. We also do financial literacy classes. So trying to help families manage their money. Doesn't matter if you're making $15 an hour, we're making a lot of money. People oftentimes struggle with just paying their bills and making good choices. So trying to help families move past the need for crisis and can be more independent with their financial decisions. And we also receive refurbished computers. And in this day and age, you need a computer. So we got a lot of kids who are virtual learning. We can provide them with a refurbished computer that they can use at home. Just some quick numbers, the pictures at the Christmas giveaway. So families who are volunteers who are packing up gifts for the kids. But last year we served 441 students with school supplies, and 238 families got Thanksgiving food. Almost 270 families got holiday food, and 821 kids each got 2 gift cards. So because of COVID, we had to change it around. Instead of doing gifts, we did gift cards. But we did that all in one day. We do this work with small staff. So I'm a full-time director. We have a part-time accountant and a part-time front desk intake specialist. The rest is volunteers. And so 6 days a week, you're going to find a volunteer here, sorting, packing, unloading, picking things up that need to be done. And even with COVID last year, we had over 8,000 hours of volunteer service. So we had to make some changes to our program and kind of cut back on volunteers so we could have some social distancing, but still had a lot of hours that were given. And this slide here is just kind of a quick picture of some of the different programs and the number of food and items that we've given out. So we're small but mighty. We have a great community that supports us with clothing donations, non-perishable donations. When we have our special holiday and back to school programs, people in the community step up to provide us with those things to give to families. So we are blessed to have a very supportive community in Reach Out Lakota. All right. So that's my quick little overview of Reach Out Lakota. We are open to questions that you might have about any of the programs that we have here.
I was just curious, Scott, is your Thanksgiving and holiday meals in addition to the 4 times a year someone can go there? Special?
Yes. So typically you could get 6 times in a year. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Are you guys a choice pantry or not?
We are kind of a hybrid. So
Okay.
is that when they check in with us, the intake specialist, they'll tell us what they like and don't like. So they might say, I don't like pork, I don't like canned food, or we have a lot of Hispanic clients who would prefer rice and beans and maseca. So it gets entered into a computer. Our volunteers in the back room see that, and then we fill their order for them based on their size and their preferences. So if they say size 6 diapers, we're going to get that. If they say we like corn and green beans but no pork, we won't put that in. So it's a little hybrid. And then they come around the back of our building, and we have volunteers who load it up in the car. So before Kroger had their click ticket, we were already doing that. They drove around the back and we loaded up their specific order right into their car.
Are you guys doing, I guess I'll say food pickup every day? Is it like just the first Wednesday of the month? Is it every other Tuesday? How is that? What's
So
the schedule?
our food distribution days are Monday night tonight, 5 to 7. So those who are working can still come in. And then Wednesday and Friday, 10 to 12.
Okay.
3 days during the week that they can get access food.
What about distribution of the other items? When does that happen? Like this, is there a set time? How do people know about it?
So for our special programs, they usually they're registering for that. So if they're going to come to our back to school program, we give them a form, we mail out a form, they register for it. And then some of those special programs, I think all of them are off site. So we use other buildings, other churches to distribute those items. So they have to register first so we know how many of the items we need. And then we have certain days they can do pickups.
But the clothing is at the same time as food.
Yeah, clothing. So when they come for a food day, they can shop for clothing while we're prepping their food order. And then the supplements, the hygiene, the deodorant, that's all packed in there as well. So that's all in-house, but the special programs are all outside.
Is the clothing new or used?
It is a combination. It's mostly used clothing. We purchase underwear. We don't want used underwear. We purchase sheets and towels. And some of the clothing that we get donated is brand new. So we've had coats brand new donated. We've had clothing donated brand new, but I'd say about 90% is used clothing. And we have volunteers who go through everything that's been donated and they sort through and hang the best of the clothes, and then we donate whatever we have left over to other organizations.
What about the backpacks and school supplies? How do you acquire those things?
I'll let Sue talk about that.
Yeah, so school supplies are donated throughout the community. So sometimes from individuals, sometimes from local groups, church groups, business groups, community donations all throughout the community. We set that specific program up similar to what you might think of as a giving tree at Christmas. So if someone contacts us and says, we'd like to participate, we do it kind of one of two ways. One, we say, would you like to focus on a specific thing? Say you want to be a backpack provider or just calculators or something like that if they have a group that wants to focus. Or we say, would you like to have little cards and it will say, we'd like to help get these supplies for a fifth grader, and we'll have a list of supplies and they'll bring us those supplies. So they come from all over the community, and then we collect it all, count it all, sort it all, and then make all these individual bags. Each of the kids gets a custom made bag for them so that we're only asking for what we know we need, and we know that the kids are getting exactly what they need, as opposed to a generic box where maybe they didn't need the glue sticks or maybe they didn't need the crayons. We're not giving it to them if the teacher isn't asking for it. So,
But all of the supplies are new, obviously.
they are all new. Once upon a time, many years ago, we did supplement with used supplies if we needed to, but we are no longer doing that. We feel like we want to sort of level the playing field for each of the students, that no one in their classroom can tell that they are part of the program, because they're coming with a new backpack and new supplies just like anyone else, or I shouldn't say anyone else, but most of them, most of the students, you know. And so that's what we've been able to do. If we do receive any used school supplies, we just make them available to our clients, and so that they can have something for home, for example, because sometimes we do receive it, but we try to, if we can make it new, we make it new.
Yeah. Do you have a special supplier that works with you for the backpacks and school supplies?
It depends on how our donations are going. Last year, because of COVID and because the school district changed their lists, we did bulk orders of most of the things and relied on the community to finance that. In the past, we've had some partnerships with, say, Sanmar is here locally. They're a distributor of clothing and some backpacks, and they've been very nice to us on getting bulk orders of backpacks, or even ordering them from bulk suppliers. We have a couple of connections. So it's very much year to year specific as to what people are willing to donate, and then we just piece the puzzle all together.
How did you get, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's what I'm going to say. How did you guys hear about the Elsa Soul Foundation and apply?
Me, just part of my doing research. So part of my job is to bring in grant money. So doing different research in the area of different groups that provide financial assistance. So it's actually my first time ever having heard of the foundation and reaching out to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What's the name of the organization that we have supported up there?
We did the teen center up in Lakota. We did a little something.
Ed Teen Center, I think.
And yes,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes we've had, in the past, we've had the kids from the Edge Center volunteering on Monday nights, helping us sorting canned goods and loading them in cars. So we've have a good working relationship with them.
You ever do weekend food packages for kids?
We do not. There's a couple organizations in Butler County who do the backpack food programs, and so we've not done that. So because of COVID, we've done some new things last year. We added 2 days, additional days that we did drive up food boxes. So in the height of all this, we started, instead of shutting down, we stayed open. But then we added 2 days where people could stay in their cars if they didn't feel comfortable. And we provided food boxes so they could drive up, and we pre-packed. So it didn't have the choice factor, but they would get a couple boxes of food. They would get some fresh meat and some milk. And so we did about, I want to say 650 families got that during that time period. It was just a way to supplement it. And then we rolled it back in as things kind of calmed down. Actually, just last week, we did a spring food boxes because kids are out of school for a week and they're, missing those meals. Oftentimes kids get 2 meals at school. We decided we were going to offer some supplemental, so it didn't count against their 4 visits, and they could sign up for food boxes. And so we were typically closed last week for spring break, and we had 2 days that we were open, and we had 121 families sign up that actually came in and picked up food. So they got, 50 pounds of food, as well as a package of meat, like chicken or pork. They could choose pork or chicken or red meat as part of that.
Do you ever go to crayons to computers for school supplies?
We have not.
I don't think they could.
You gotta be a teacher.
Yeah, I don't
go
think
to
they
crayons to
qualify for
computers.
school. I don't
Yeah,
think they could.
The teachers have to go, I
Yeah,
think.
I don't think they qualify.
Is your $19,000 for the program cost, is that strictly just for the fresh meat? It's not going towards beans and rice? And that's what you want us, the grant, just for the meat portion of what you give away?
Exactly. So we get the canned goods that, the non-perishable donated, but we spend that much going out buying, like 5-pound chickens, ground beef, hot dogs. So we go out and purchase that every year. So when someone comes to us for food, whether it's the beginning of the month, the end of the month, January, November, we want to make sure they get a full food order. And so we're very good about making sure that our supply, we are stocked for every time the food visit. So that's how much we'll spend purchasing meat. Again, we buy milk, we buy eggs, stuff that can't be donated. So looking for some assistance to help us kind of offset some of that cost that we have for fresh meat.
What about the free store food bank? Do you ever get anything there?
We are not part of the Free Store Food Bank. Shared Harvest is the local food bank that is part of this region, and we just joined them last year. And so we do get some fresh produce from them currently, and some milk products. So we go once a week to pick up fresh produce from them.
Do you buy your meat, things of that sort? Do you buy them wholesale or do you buy them just through a retail store?
We're purchasing from, so we buy stuff from Kroger, Walmart, Meijer. We use a combination. We get some good discounts from Walmart on our meat purchases. We get some Meijer gift cards donated to us from a donor, so we'll use that as purchasing. So we're always trying to find the best deal that we can when we're purchasing meat.
I mean, because there are some wholesalers, I guess, in Cincinnati, are there not?
There are. I don't know if we've reached out to any of the wholesalers because of our relationship with Kroger's and Walmart. And
Yeah. Okay. I just thought maybe you get a better deal sometimes if you're buying bulk.
Right.
And
And typically we're buying like on a regular basis. So because of our freezer space, so each week we'll go buy 40 gallons of milk. And that's about the most we can put in our refrigerator. Again, Walmart gives us a deal where we're paying a lot less than if you went to Walmart and bought it yourself. But for the meat, same thing. We'll go out each week and we're purchasing chickens and ground beef. Fill the freezer, but we can't buy it in too big of a quantity, just a storage issue. Sometimes at Thanksgiving, we buy a lot of turkeys. And so typically what we're doing here is giving out a lot of the food that's in our freezer so we can have some space to put the turkeys that we then go and purchase. So, because they take up a lot of space, I'll end up filling up all the freezers and the refrigerators with turkeys for the holiday distribution.
Well, do you have any questions for us? I think everything is pretty explanatory.
So I guess my question is, your service area, where all do you distribute funding to?
We have a 75-mile radius from downtown Cincinnati Fountain Square. And traditionally, the reason we do that is because before the virus hit, we personally interact with nonprofits, an application, and we actually come out to your location, whatever it is, for the site visit and discussion. And then we would personally deliver the check, and then we come back and follow up later if you have an event going on, type of thing. So the reason for the 75-mile radius is just the interaction that we like to have with the nonprofits that we support.
I'm impressed with that. You know, I write grants all the time, and it seems like your organization is taking a more personal approach to knowing the organizations and who you're giving to, which I appreciate that. Having been in the social work field for 30 years, I know it's important to know who you're supporting and how they're using your funds.
Right. And then, you know, people always change, different executive directors, and the board changes, the mission maybe be tweaked a little bit. And so we just like to keep up with, are you changing a focus or anything else changing type thing? But that's why the 75-mile radius. But we say that we provide opportunities in education, community, and the arts. So that pretty much covers a pretty broad array of focus areas.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate being considered for contribution.
Absolutely.
So our board meets at the end of this month, April 29th, and we usually try to get back to everybody within a week of the meetings. So kind of the first week of May, you'd be hearing back from us.
Okay, sounds
And
wonderful.
I know it's a journey, but have you heard of master provisions?
No.
Well, they're in the Florence Industrial Park here in Kentucky, but a lot of the food pantries in the greater Cincinnati area will go to them for produce and other things.
Yeah. One of my goals when I got here was, how do we increase the amount of good quality food, so good protein, the meats, the fresh produce.
Mhm.
So we're going to feed people, but we also want it to be healthy food. And so we're trying to find ways to increase that quantity and the quality of the food that we give out. So I'm always looking for resources for that.
Yeah, and then you had said that you have some grant applications pending with the Westchester Community Foundation, but those won't be.
Right. There's a long process. So in the summertime, they have a presentation where we go in person to meet with them, and then they'll make a decision in December. So I won't know that one until if we're awarded money, it won't be till January of next year. And then the community of St. Maximilian Colby has been generous in the past with giving us some funding for some of the turkeys that we use in Thanksgiving. So we usually ask them to help support some of that. So some of that 19,000 that we use is for the turkeys and chickens that we buy for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking that the Westchester Community Foundation it has a year-long process for one grant.
Yes, and this is a specific grant within that. So we have received support from the Community Foundation in other areas. They have a Director's General Discretionary Fund, which we're funding. This is a fund within the Community Foundation where a group of women make those decisions about who they're going to support in the community. So,
Okay,
yeah. And they reached out to us and asked us to apply. So
good. All right, well, I'm out of questions.
I got nothing else.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.